Alright, so what's going on? I've got this application here pulled up that somebody shared with me yesterday, and I figured I'd check it out and see what it could do for this project. So let's see, how do we install this? I think there's a README in here somewhere. Or this is the README. Okay, so Mac OS commands, we're gonna have to clone it. So I'm gonna pull up a terminal and clone this thing. All right, got my terminal here. Well, we don't want to actually clone it right away. I'm going to navigate to the directory that I want this file to be created in, and that's going to be developer. Hey man, I appreciate that. Thank you. I'm downloading, I don't know who mentioned this plugin, but somebody did. So I'm just messing around with it right now. Alright, I read it yesterday. It seemed like I would start off the stream with just installing this tool. Alright, I just had the view open for it. See, I switched my monitors around and I just got confused. I, for some reason, thought that I had a different window pulled up. Alright, so let's get the next scripts here. They will be bash scripts. I think that will run in this terminal. So now we're going to cd into, what's it called? Code sol control, and JB and Kit Ratsu. What's up, man? Thanks for stopping by, you guys. How's it going, new viewer? Thank you for checking out the stream. A quick question, if I have time to help. All right, I might. I don't know. I can't answer that unless I know what the question is. So feel free to drop the question. Sometimes other people in the chat might have an answer as well. Question is from Kitrasu Gamer. Says, can you tell me how I get clients like myself? I do vibe coding, so how do I get clients who pays a good amount, like $900 to $1,000? By the way, what are we building? I appreciate the question. My question back, just for clarification, would be what that $900 to $1,000 payment would be. Would it be like monthly recurring revenue, or would that be sort of like a one-time payment for an application that you're building? What application are you building? Are you building an application? And yeah, what's the deal? What are some of the specific questions that you have to ask about the business or the product that you're building? I'm building a fitness app. It's a mobile fitness application. It's cross-platform. It has a web browser application as well, and the goal for this is to put it on the App Store so that it's a fitness app and it can be on both app stores, and that's really the point for this whole experiment, is to get to that. All right, so you say it's a one-time payment, and I make a website with Next.js, Gasp, WebGL, 3JS, and etc. Okay. Well, it sounds like you have a framework, and if you have an idea, I mean, you can get that website, whatever it is and consists of, online probably relatively quickly for to get traffic and views. And I'm not sure what kind of functionality that you're planning to incorporate and whether you've done that already. It sounds like you haven't quite gotten that payment model set up yet, or that paywall. You're saying it would be a one-time payment, so that infers that you haven't even put that paywall up for consumers. So it sounds like you need to maybe spend some time on that. Just making the assumption, though, I'm not sure if you've already done that. And right now I'm setting up a paywall myself using RevenueCat, and the agent that I'm working with has installed an SDK for me. So it's doing a lot of the installation, setup work, and token configuration for me. There's some manual things that I have to do probably still, like go into the dashboard of RevenueCat and hook up or get any kind of secrets. But you should get that up. You should definitely look into one of those paywall services like RevenueCat or Stripe. I can't think of any other one right now, but there's probably some other good ones. I think somebody mentioned one yesterday in the stream yesterday. Tell me more about it. What are your plans for it? Whatever you're willing to share. So I have Claude working on the work that it was doing yesterday, because we ran out of session, and I'm going to check where we're at now since I just started it. It's already at 30% for the current session. That's actually crazy. So how do I get clients? My main problem is, how do I get clients? Okay, well, that's a fair question. I'm not sure that I'm equipped with experience to actually have a good answer, but I have my theory with respect to where I'm at in the journey of marketing and all that with an application that I've created myself. And I think the first thing that I've started actionably doing is live streaming. So I'm creating a live stream, regular, consistent uploads, and trying to just draw in some traffic. This way people can, watch what I'm doing if they want. If they get any value from what I'm talking about, then perhaps they'll be more inclined to appreciate the journey that I'm on. And I think like that in and of itself is marketing, because AI cannot replace live streamers at the level live streamers are able to connect with a community and create an audience of some form. So that's just one consideration, and I've only just begun. So I don't really have a whole lot of results other than just growing the channel to what it is today. The second thing is I'm actually implementing this experiment for learning about how to best market an application or a product. And I actually just posted a YouTube short about that very thing on marketing, getting clients. I think one of the best ways to maybe think about getting clients today is through leveraging the social media platforms and what they're doing. I mean, it's just sort of the nature of your product. It exists in a digital native consumer platform type of landscape, and you have to try to get those users to see your product in the format they're used to seeing information. But there's obviously like a differentiator between what a good ad versus a bad ad can do on that platform. And I think we're starting to see sort of an evolution of ads that are good versus bad, and only the user and the consumer really can, be the deciding factor, because we've all seen ads on our phone pop up that we're not really interested in, or immediately just kinds of turns us off. But every now and then there will be like one type of ad that you're like, oh dang, I might actually see myself buying this. Or maybe sometimes I have bought something. Very rarely though do I buy something from an ad. So I don't know where I was going with that. Any other kinds of apps that I've built? I have mainly worked within a Mac environment. I've built applications before. I've contributed to application projects during my undergrad degree, and I've contributed during my internships. But I've never worked on I've never had the full responsibility of owning an application that scaled with users before. I've never put an app on the App Store before. I have apps that are available for cloning, the repo, and then launching it that way. But I've never produced an application that had sort of an executable file that you could just run, and it was a native desktop or mobile app that was available on an app store like Google or Apple. What's up, Senzi? Yeah, I just moved my table around and I changed the monitor up. I felt like it could be helpful for me to kind of clear my workspace a little bit. Hopefully we'll be able to make more upgrades to the workstation as time goes on. Expo Doctor fails one check. Expo Asset, that looks like a lot of things. Are each one patch behind this software development kit. 57, it's a documented pre-release build-gate, okay. Which Claude Markdown puts behind your approval? It's a dependency change, okay. Which Claude puts behind my approval? Patch level within SDK. All right, we got some more chats going on in here. Thanks for the advice. See you later. All right, man. Thanks for stopping by. Feel free to stop by any time. Claude told me today my CSS file is impossible for an agent to consume without running out of context. So now I have to do cleanup on that front. Confused how AI let it get so bloated. I'm not surprised, I'll be honest. I don't know. I'd be confused how to unbloat it, but I'm not surprised that it would do something like that. I mean, I guess, and also depending on what kind of model you're using would influence how surprised or all that I would be. Since he says some noise suppression, make the camera a bit smaller and turn up the music a bit, it would be great. Okay, I'll try that. I appreciate the feedback on that. Hopefully this is a little better. I increase the camera size actually, so that when I edit videos, the camera quality comes out a little better. But it's not a big deal. I've learned how to kind of improve that process. I gotta check on some oatmeal. I'll step away for a minute. All right. Making oatmeal. I think I burnt it. It's steel cut oats, so that takes longer to cook. And I don't know if I put enough water in there, and it smells sort of like popcorn now. But I just put some more water in there, and gonna give it like another 5 minutes or so. I meant the width. Feels like some empty space on one side, not the scale. I can't really change the width or the height independently. I haven't figured out how to do that. See, look. See, when I try to do just the width, it also affects the height. I gotcha. I appreciate that. This is all right. So like when I look over here, I'm looking at my other monitor. So I've sort of got like two views right here. I've got the main camera view, and then I've got this desktop or the monitor that the stream is looking at. And Claude has been running for about 40 minutes. It's made 10,000 edits. If you were to ask me if I understand what it has edited and changed, I would say no. But I would say I can look at what's been edited and changed. I can see exactly what has been edited and changed. And then I can ask it to look at what's been edited and changed and then tell me what those things are. All right, so it's saying that delegating to multiple agents would cost more. It would not cost less. It's two commands whose context I already hold, and a codex agent would start cold and derive the whole sprint history to run doing it in line. Okay. So it's not going to run multiple agents. Still at 27% usage. 27% usage in 48 minutes. 48 minutes. You could also add a noise suppression filter on the mic in OBS. I assume it's static noise on stream. Yes, that's what I need. Let me look that up. Noise suppression filter on mic in OBS for static noise. In OBS, click the mixer gear next to your mic. Okay, click the mixer gear next to the mic. Where is that? Audio mixer. In OBS's audio mixer, click the gear next to your mic. Okay, I'm looking at the gears. Filter. Filter. do not see a filter. I see copy paste filter, but it's grayed out. Okay. Oh, wait. No source selected. Filter. Add audio filter. Noise gate, noise suppression. Yeah, we'll do that. RNN noise. Good quality, more CPU. Sure. We'll do that. Okay, I think I added it. You'll have to tell me though. This is a test. Right click, choose filter, and add one. Yeah. I guess I'll just show you what I got here. Yeah, Tom, I am in the United States. That is correct. I live in Florida. It's been like 90. It feels like it's been 90 degrees, but it's been like high 80s lately. So it's been really hot, really muggy and humid. And it's been hot. But I'm sure Asia gets hot too. I'm getting all messed up here with trying to set this up. Filters. I go to filters here, and I added noise suppression audio right there. So I don't know. Yeah. I'm glad you got the AC on, and I'm sure it's hotter there. Yeah, that's the screen, right? Yeah. I go to noise suppression, and it is currently on, so click the mic aux drop down. The mic aux drop down. Okay. You're in Vietnam. Left New York in 2019 to Vietnam. Well, I've never met anyone from Vietnam, so it's nice to meet you. All right, there. I think I have done it. We'll go with RN noise. How is this? Ah, that's awesome, man. Thank you for that unlock right there. That's big win, big win. Tom's American. Okay. What's it like being an American in Vietnam? Are there many other Americans? Do you have like American friends? That is the source which you should have added. You can get rid of the other one. Which other one? If I go to properties, this one? Is it still working? And Mac OS, so you're getting the music now, right? You get the music and you get the hear my beautiful voice. Okay. That's great news. Tom, I look forward to hearing about your Vietnam transition. All right, thank you for that. I think everything's good. We got the music, and we've got my voice that has no noise. Tom says, I live in brand new development. There are tons of brand new houses here with Olympic pools. I bet the cost of living is less expensive. Okay, looks like Claude has finished that prompt. That's great news. So where are we at? Your next blocking step is the one no code change can unblock. Production Supabase has still never had a migration applied. The probe query in 3 of the runbook settles what it actually has, rather than assuming it matches staging. I still have Perplexity. I still use it. I haven't used it at all starting today's project though, so that's something to consider. I guess I'm sort of moving away. When I start working on Simulison again, though, I will probably go back to my previous workflow so that way I could take what I've learned from what I've done here and try to iterate from the workflow that I had been building Simulison. I don't know if you had seen my Simulison project at all, but that was one that I started vibe coding live streaming with. And so yeah, that's what we're doing right now is this experiment that I'll probably jump over to Simulison. I'll probably use Perplexity for that. I've been learning how to use Perplexity. How can it be a valuable tool for me? And I've tried a couple different things integrating Perplexity into sort of like a ADE of my own, but that was a big failure. Perplexity is really only best valued when you're using it in the Comet browser, I think. Unless you have like a very specific way to leverage the APIs that you've thought about and considered, because there are some, there's some accessibility issues. You can't use all of the beautiful, wonderful things Perplexity has to offer through the API. Unless you're using Perplexity Computer, which I don't use via API. If I use Perplexity Computer, I use it in Comet browser, but apparently Perplexity Computer has something really powerful that you can utilize in a local environment, accessing it, via the cloud, of course, but you're still using it in like a CLI type of framework or API call type of framework instead of like hosting the native application itself or running it in a web browser. You're just calling on the Perplexity Computer API, and I don't know, it's probably pretty powerful, but that's just my suspicion, and it's probably pretty expensive. Yep. A little bit of a workflow change. Yeah, Perplexity got to get their integration game up for sure. Yeah, I absolutely agree. I gotta go check on my oatmeal real quick. All right. Can API Perplexity just looked it up good for search as well? Yeah, but I've done so much with Perplexity, I don't even know what it's good at, like specifically in API mode. All right, so Claude is saying, well, so here's what I asked Claude, and here is what it said. I asked, what recommended tasks do you have for where we currently stand in getting this application on the App Store? Describe exactly the problems with Supabase and RevenueCat if either has any issues that will prevent this application for scaling real users. The short version of what its response is that RevenueCat's design is sound and just needs configuring. RevenueCat's design is sound and just needs configuring and sandbox testing. Supabase's design is sound too, but the client asked it for everything. Supabase's design is sound too, but the client asks it for everything, forever. That's fine for your first list workouts function before you push up for growth. Want me to query the bounding? Want me to do the query bounding work now, or keep the branch as is while you run the store? while you run the store side steps. So we're going to have it bound list workouts now before I do the store steps, because that's what it's suggesting I do. All right, so what's the next workflow upgrade going to be, you guys? What is the very next thing? You know, I just installed a tool and I haven't used it yet. Why don't we try that? Let's open up Codex here and let's look at some of our projects. And music, Q Music is a project that I've been working on, that I've been posting videos about on YouTube. All right, man, Sensi, thanks for stopping by. Hope you have a good one. Hope you get some good rest. Okay. Cue music. Let's do... We were given a prompt earlier that said this is how we should engage with this new tool. So let's go to... So all I have to do is invoke... Yep, here we go. Yes, it's exactly right. In the example you pasted is exactly the canonical quick start example from the README itself. After installing the skill, yeah, show me that. All right, so we provide this prompt. So after we install this new tool called Codex Soul Control, open a new Codex session and explicitly invoke Soul Control. Goal: add account setting to the existing Next.js application. Done when users can update their display, name, and avatar. Existing authentication APIs remain compatible. Required tests are added. Lint, test, and build all passes. Do not modify the payment module. Replace the existing UI framework. Okay. So we're going to copy that and paste it here into a new Q strike session, Q music session. We have Soul. We don't need extra high. I think we can do medium for now. Okay, there it goes. Let's see what it does. Let's check on Claude. Claude seems to be continuing to work on that prompt where we asked it to bound list workouts now before doing the store steps. And it's currently working on that. Let's check the usage that we're at currently. The usage is at 35%. We're at 35% usage so far. And that should be growing rapidly any moment. All right, back to Soul. Soul Control is reviewing the Soul Control. Soul Controller started working. All right, I want to check out Perplexity's discovery page. Yep, that's good. Okay. I want to find discovery. All right, gotta go check on that oatmeal before it burns again. All right, Claude Code is still continuing to work on the store checks and the bounding function before it continues those steps. Soul is just... Okay, it's saying blocked. This sounds really interesting. OpenAI on Monday introduced ChatGPT 5.6 Cyber, a more permissive cybersecurity-focused model available to vetted defenders as the company expands its Daybreak program amid growing concerns about autonomous AI-driven cyber attacks. The release comes days after OpenAI delayed its forthcoming model, Astra, after internal evaluations indicated it had reached what the company described as critical cyber capabilities under its preparedness framework, meaning it could potentially identify and execute cyber attacks against hardened real-world systems without human intervention. All right, so I am editing Q Music, that application that I was building and I made a video about. So I'm going to edit that program right now using Soul Medium 5.6, using GPT 5.6 Soul Medium. And I'm also going to be leveraging this new application that I'm trying and testing out. It's called Soul Control, and it's a skill for the Codex agent. Think of Soul Control as a careful team captain. Can't speak. Soul Control. Think of Soul Control as a careful team captain for Codex. Normally, one coding agent receives your requests and does everything itself. Soul Control instead works like this. Soul is the captain, understands the goal, creates the plan, and checks the finished work. Workers are specialists. Each gets one clear-bounded coding job. Tests are the scoreboard. Soul only declares success after inspecting the code and verification results. For the QMusic application, Soul might divide a large feature into: one worker improves audio playback, another adds waveform tests, Soul checks that their files don't conflict, Soul runs the build and tests, Soul reports pass, requests one focus fix, or explains a real blocker. The main value is controlled execution. It prevents agents from accidentally overwriting your existing work, changing unrelated files, claiming success without running tests, making several conflicting changes, wandering away from your original goal, using an expensive worker for a simple task. It is most useful for large requests, such as finish QMusic's playback system, add playlists, persistence, and tests, refactor the audio engine without breaking the UI, and diagnose and fix several related bugs, then verify the application. It is less useful for tiny requests such as changing a button label. The coordination adds overhead, so ordinary codex execution is faster for small edits. A good invocation looks like this. Invoke Soul Control, then respond in English. Goal: add playlist support to QMusic. In one sentence, Soul Control trades a little speed and cost for better organization, safer changes, and stronger proof that a complicated job is actually finished. QMusic is a local first visual music player for macOS that turns your own music into a beautiful, customizable listening. I feel like I should be talking in this direction. I feel like I should be, yeah. I'm so used to it. I feel like maybe the lighting too. Okay. Should QMusic primarily be something you quietly listen with, something you publicly express yourself through, or something you perform with? I'm using QMusic while I live stream. So it should be resizable so that I can place the window wherever there is space that it could fill on the display. It is somewhat something I express myself through and perform with while I am streaming. It should serve as a simple music app, but the visualization that makes it enjoyable to have while on the stream/screen. Okay, now Claude is just finished. Perfect timing. So let's see. List workouts now takes an optional limit and startup asks for the most recent 120 sessions instead of everything. Startup also drops from 10 reads to 8. 3 decisions worth knowing. A row count, not a date window. A date window is the obvious choice, and it's wrong here. I'm getting a phone call. All right. You're clear to start the store steps. The first one is still binding. Production Superbase has never had a migration applied. Bound the check-in and personal records. Record reads too. How are we doing on credits? 40%. That's not bad. Bound the check-ins and personal record reads. Bound the check-in and personal record reads. 2. You're clear to start the store steps. The first one is still what's actually missing is the other half. A real account can currently write only 3 things: workout, personal records, and check-ins. No custom exercises, no body measurements, no profile editing, no routine choice. In every one of these cases, the schema and RLS policies already exist, and the client just never calls them. Okay. All right, that's what that's going to work on. Bound the check-in and personal record reads too. I agree and approve of that. Q Music is a resizable music player for live streamers. Well, sure. That turns local music into a polished experience part of the stream. Its 3 promises should be: fits the stream, feels personal, stays simple. 2 modes. Q Music would benefit from separating private controls from what the viewer sees. Yeah, that would actually be okay. Now give me the prompt to invoke Soul Console to build that out. Does Soul Console have a dashboard view or UI? Can you hear me, microphone? Can you hear me from over here? Does this sound different? I'm treating Soul Console as Soul Control. That's what I meant. I'll verify what codex exposes for skill sub-agent visibility. Then I'll give you copy-paste implementation prompt tailored to Q Music. This will not start the build yet. All right, very good. It's going to give me the prompt. I got to check on my oatmeal. All right, I'm now using Soul Control to build cue music. Soul Control, please do the following. Respond in English. Turn cue music into a stream-ready, resizable visual music player for macOS. It should remain a simple local music player while providing a polished audience-facing visualization that can occupy any available space in a live stream layout. Product direction. Cue music is for live streamers playing local music. The streamer controls playback privately. Viewers can see a clean, expressive performance window. The experience should feel personal and visually enjoyable without becoming complicated production software. Existing work constraints. Required architecture. Done when performance window has been completed. Responsive presentation has been completed. Stream controls have been completed. Visual identity, existing player behavior, quality and verification have been completed. Do not replace SwiftUI or AV Foundation. Do not add a streaming music service, cloud account system, social network, or audio editor. Add an OBS plugin in this milestone. That'd be interesting. Oh, do not add an OBS plugin. Do not add a third-party dependency. Do not expose local file paths in performance window. Do not rewrite unrelated parts of the application, and do not discard existing uncommitted changes. Implementation guidance. First, inspect the current SwiftUI scene structure, audio player state ownership, other modules. Produce the smallest useful stage plan. All right, so now it's working on that. Codex is still working. It's still going strong. I'm not going to eat my oatmeal on stream. All right. Almost ready to go again. now I'm asking, should I update the test flight application version of the build with this newer version, or will that also make API calls to the backend if the real user testers start interacting with it? Will that make API calls to the backend if the real user testers start interacting with it?
we are scaling up our Trusted Access for Cyber TAC program to thousands of verified individual defenders and hundreds of teams responsible for defending critical software.
Right, something very exciting. Soul has finished working on Q Music, so here in just a little bit, we're gonna go ahead and launch Q Music and see what Soul cooked up for us. So I'm happy about that. I'll be able to use Q Music in my stream here pretty soon. So we'll pull up Q Music. It'll be a great time. Bunch of laughing and cheering for this new Q Music product that I'm building here. Let's make a new little window thing. Yep, just like that. Pull our Q Music over. Hello, Q Music. All right, we'll run the sim here in just a minute, but I'm gonna step away, and when I get back, I'll do it. Codec security. All right, Claude, what do you got? Okay. An empty project is the best case. All right, going into my Supabase to paste this SQL file. It's a big SQL file. Running success. So we like to see success. All right, and when I get back, I'll run this. Hopefully it's something worth seeing. All right, let's go ahead and pull up our Cue Music application. We'll do that now. Okay. Let's see what happens. Moment of truth. It is building now. Hopefully it looks pretty rad. It should have launched by now. It's building. It's taking a little while. Alright, Cue Music did not want to run, so we're going to paste the errors inside Codex. All right. Looks like Q Music is up. Q Music is now live. As a build anyway. Here it is. All right. So I'm going to stop playing the music that I have currently on the stream. And I'm just going to be playing from Q Music for a little bit because I think the fact that it's running as a simulation in Xcode is just taking up more RAM. So, none of those tracks are working. I probably just need to refresh the selections. Yeah, that worked. It's running a little bit slow, but I mean, it's at a decent working stage. I'll continue working on it later. All right, what I'm gonna do now is upload Q Music to Test Flight, so that way I can just download Q Music through Test Flight instead of having to run the Xcode simulator through Xcode every time. There might be another way, I think there is another way, to just run the simulator without needing to pull up Xcode to do it. I haven't done that at all or looked into doing that. I think just putting it on Test Flight gives me a little bit more confidence in my ability to, start producing applications and then moving them down the pipeline for deploying them as live downloadable applications for other people to use if they want. So it's just practice. So I'm generating an image for Q Music because you need an image of the application before you can put it on test flight. So that's what I'm doing now. And I also have Claude Code still running here. Claude Code is still going at it, working on getting the RevenueCat and Supabase configurations fully finished so that I can get this on test flight. And once I get it on test flight, I'll then distribute it to the App Store for Apple. But I feel like if I can get it on test flight, then I'll be able to start pushing. Well, this version that will be on test flight, I already have a version on test flight, but that has 8 weeks of seeded training data. I just wanted my current users to be able to test that out, what it would be like if they were 8 weeks in. But now I'm going to go ahead and allow the users to input their own real information and try to collect real user data now. Oh boy. So I made a new image for this application. I really don't like it. I'm not a fan of it, but hey, I don't really care right now. I just want to get it live on the App Store. I like that. That's pretty slick. Look at that. We'll use that. That's pretty cool, actually. I like that a lot better than the other one that it made. I had Perplexity make, actually. Alright, I should be able to upload this to test flight now. So that's good. Go ahead and do that. Go to product, nope, wrong one. It's archive, not analyze. Product, archive, and then wait for it to build again. This was the image that came up before. So we got this cue music image, and then we got this other one that came up that I don't like as much. Just doesn't feel the same. Still building. What's Codex doing? What are you doing, Codex? No, I mean Cloud Code. How much session do you have remaining? All right, we're at 80% session limit, and it resets in 2 hours. So hopefully we'll be able to use up what we can in an efficient way. gonna have to figure out a way to wrap things up on Claude Code so that I can use the remaining credits to help me prepare to maybe move over to Codex to finish the job if necessary. I haven't really seen any immediate changes in what I'm doing, so it's a little like concerning. I want to be able to interact with what is taking place, which is that backend migration. So no longer using 8-week seeded storage training data to simulate 8 weeks of a user entering information about their workouts. Now we're working on getting real user input. So I'm setting up the infrastructure in order to do that and just kind of seeing where I can get with things. Hopefully I'll be able to start testing out real user data here pretty soon. And my first phase in order to do that is get it up on test flight and let all my test flight testers start interacting with the application. And that's pretty much the approach right now. Once I get it on test flight and I have users interacting with it, I'll be able to at least see how that works, if I've set things up properly to keep track, to store that information, of course securing it, and just completing that before I can really move into putting this live on the App Store, I think. All right, Q Music has now been put on test flight. It does not see any builds though. All right, so this is the Q Music installer. It takes up 35 megabytes of space on the computer. And Q Music has now been installed on my machine. Let me go ahead and search for it. Searching for Q Music. I don't know where it would install to. Cue music. There it is in my app folder. Launch it. The application can't be opened. Well, that's a disappointment. I thought I was onto something there. The order now fixed rather than preferential. All right, I'm gonna call it here. We're gonna take a break. I might be back on later. So anyway, thanks for stopping